Hey y'all. I'm still trying to figure out the green screen, so I got this like hole in my head and in my hands apparently. But I'll figure it out one of these days. Try to bear with me with my hole for now. uh, JV, Van Allen. I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm saying that wrong, but glad to have you on the stream. Glad to have another person excited about forms. Forms are my jam. I really like forms. I've become, how do I want to say it? Like, unfortunately, J Van Allen is what I said, or JV. Okay, gotcha. JVA, JVA. There we go. uh, so I don't want to like throw forms too far under the bus. Angular forms too far under the bus. I actually like them a bit. There's a couple things that are blatantly outstanding though. One of those is like the type checking, which I think is the most visible thing. The other thing is like my hypothesis is that the way reactive forms is set up, when you build a form, it's a black box of reactivity. It's a black box that doesn't let reactivity bleed out. So you could still build stuff on top of them, but it becomes hard and difficult. And if we can get through everything I want to get through today, I think we'll be able to see some of that. So we'll see. Just recapping what we did yesterday. We created our content post. We just put JSON inside there. We started working on the pagination form component. We made our new lib for form components. We made a new app. It's sort of like a test bed for our forms. And we were on coding out the actual pagination stuff. If I come over here, I've already got Cypress running. We just have our blank template right now, but we have a lot of the TypeScript in here already. So I was going to start looking today at filling out some of the template. I imagine as we do this, we'll find some other streams inside of our component class we'll probably need. So we'll figure that out. And then we'll try to write out, once we have it, so we just have enough of our template so we know what we're doing, we'll start writing out our end-to-end tests. And from there, we'll start building a larger paginator form. So JVA, this is, let's take a look at I'll pull up the component, and that could we can maybe go from there. So I'm going to go to our front end and our forms. Right now we just have our lonely pagination form here. Here's our template, nothing exciting there yet. I'm going to move our TypeScript over here. Let me close out some things. And I'm going to make things just a little bit smaller. Hopefully everyone can still see. So what we did a lot of yesterday was creating the control value accessor. So a component that implements control value accessor. This is how we can make a form that will, using Angular, will let you use like the reactive forms lib. So you can use like form control and form group directives inside of like wherever this gets consumed. So this isn't so much dynamic form generation. This is more, how can you build a form that's just as easy to work with as like a text input? That's kind of what we're looking at here. So the idea is, let me bring up a browser real quick. I'm going to bring up Bootstrap. I think we'll probably, for today at least, just work off like the Bootstrap Paginator. Let's take a look-see. So you can see this is kind of what we'll be building out. But I do want to have like one of these be active. I want to change this around a little bit. I like previous and next in their own little button group off to the side. And then rather than these being list items with links, I think we'll just use buttons inside of here. And yeah, we'll go from there. Let's start by just grabbing some of this. See where we can go. Loin Girdler, nice to meet you. Welcome to the stream. We're looking at forms. We're looking at Angular forms here, and I've got some Bootstrap stuff in here. Actually, let's just stick with some basic. Let's just stick with some basic HTML for now. So I don't want this to really be a nav. I don't think. Nav would assume that these were all links inside here. I really want this to just be buttons. So like we could stick it on a table. We could stick it on side of kind of anything that needs to get paginated. So I think we'll just do, well, let's do one thing here. We'll have a div and we'll have a button here that'll be a previous, and then a button that'll be a next. We won't worry about styling this yet for Bootstrap or anything like that. So that'll be our one div, and then our second div will have some buttons. The inside of our inside of what we did yesterday, we already have this Pagination Options that we're running. So this is going to have all the different buttons that we're using. I kind of like Bootstrap. It's actually, it's still like the vanilla to me, I guess. That's how it strikes me, at least. But yeah, JVA, what do you like to use? I'm really interested in Tailwind. I'd love to get things moving that direction just so I can learn more about it, because it looks really interesting. But yeah, so let's just start. We'll say here's some buttons. And we'll put in ng4 in here. We'll say let, we'll just call this option of, and here we'll have Pagination Options. Put that to, well, let's just use the ngrx push pipe. Yeah, let's use it. This is like using async pipe, but better. And inside of here, we'll just have option. And I will need to make sure we have our push pipe in here. So let's just grab the forms module real quick. So we're going to want to have import, I think it was reactive component module. This is from ngrx component. We've been playing around with a lot of this stuff recently, so this will give us the push pipe and the ngrx let structural directive. There we go. So let's take a look at this. I think if we come over here and let's rerun our tests and see how we're doing. Let's inspect console. ngrx push could not be found. We may have to restart the build because I just dropped in that new thing. Let me do that. Let me come up and grab this real quick. So that's not what I wanted at all. So we're using NX here. And we've got NX all hooked up so we can run our end-to-end tests just using the NX built-in schematics. Wait. There we go. So things are kind of just hooked up. Cypress is really easy to configure this way. And we made a new app inside of our NX workspace, pretty much so we could just test this out and get some better testing. I think it's better testing this way. It's testing the way, closer to testing, I think, the way a human would test it, or the way like a QA person would test it. All right, so there's our app. And Cypress should open any second. I'll wait over here for it. And tricked me again. There we go. We'll run all of our specs. And hopefully we'll see our buttons now. Oh, no, still missing stuff. Let's see. Oh, maybe not. Let's see. There may be something wrong with our pagination options. Oh, of course, we're not calling it yet. Let's jump into our test bed. So we'll go up into our apps and into the forms test bed and into here. So we already have our live stream pagination form here. I'm going to put over here, we're going to do like this. We're going to call a new form control for our page. Let's just call it. So we'll call it our page control. This is equal to new form control. Let's just say 1. There we go. And I believe we'll also need to pass in as an input our total pages. So we'll do it like this. We'll say total pages. And this is going to be an observable of a number. I want to do it as an observable because I eventually want to add some forms into the actual test bed. And we'll just say, let's say 5 for now. There we go. Let me add finish notation here, form control. Alrighty, so then inside of here, we're going to call, on our pagination, like we said, we can just use the form control directive. We're going to set that to our page control. And for, I don't need a comma there, and for our total pages, we can just use our total pages type, and we'll use the ngrx push. And let's see. Let's add the reactive component in here too. Reactive component module. And this is going to be from ngrx/component. Let's import that. And there we go. So we're seeing R1 at least. we're getting somewhere. I would have expected to see 1 through 5 down below. Let's see if we can see why that is. Let's go into our sources and see. Can we get into the paginator? Pagination.component.ts. So we should be writing a value. This is being called as soon as we're initializing with that 1. Let's just see. I'm going to put a breakpoint here and let's rerun. Let's see if this catches. There we go. So we don't have yet our current page control, so we're going to instantiate a new one. And if I look at total pages, looks like there's stuff there. If I look at our total pages input though, let's go down here. Let's see, total pages starts out with the replace subject, and inside of on change, ng on changes, to really change that to changes, but if changes total pages, let's see, I'm going to restart this and see which one is hitting first. Alright, so it's calling next with That's wrong. Okay. Yes, that's obviously wrong. I know it's wrong now. We need to have our total pages like so, otherwise it's going to evaluate to history. There we go. Let's see. Let's pull out our debugs, or our stops, and I probably should have made that bigger. I apologize. Let's see if this... Alright, so now we have our 5. And let's just say... over here, let's go back to our, let's go to where we're writing our end-to-end tests. Because I think we have enough here, we can maybe look at some of this stuff. So we're going to look at our integration and our app spec. This is kind of where we write out the end-to-end test. Right now, we're calling in the before each, we're just visiting. In some of the other episodes, I guess we've done before, like in our before each, we'll actually go out and seed our database using cypress tests, or cypress tasks, that is. Because this is just a pure component, we really don't have to do much of any of that. We just kind of go to the home page. That's where we're doing stuff, and we're just making sure that component's in here now. So I want to do some stuff here. I want to be able to check, so that forms value. We'll say, let's do like this. We'll say sci.get. So we'll build some stuff into our test bed, and we'll call it e2e tag. So we're going to add this, I guess, selector on. We'll call it value. And then we should say contains, and this should be 1. Let's run that. This should fail at first, and it's obviously going to fail here. Let's get that there, but we're going to come into our actual implementation of the component. Or no, not the actual implementation, but rather here. So we can see we do have our pagination form up on top. But we're also going to have this value down here. So we'll call this spanner div, let's say div. And we'll call this e2e tag is equal to value. So we'll do like so. And we'll say this is equal to our page control dot value. And let's just put some stuff like this here, so we could still understand what's going on. HR, I guess, just to separate. So everything above the horizontal rule is going to be our component. Everything below it is kind of test bed stuff. So if we look now, we should see that we have the value as 1. I did something wrong here, though. What did I do wrong? Did I do this stuff wrong? I don't know. Let's see. Just try hitting it here. e2e tag equals value. So using the inspector thing, I can just kind of generate my own stuff here. I think that's what I have, isn't it? Maybe it's the fact that it's a 1, that the spec is failing. Let's work through that. So we'll say, just paste this in. Yeah, no different. Let's try contains 1, like so. See if that'll pass. Okay, we're getting all greens now. So at least we're starting out the right way. I think we're probably also going to want to do something where we highlight the 1 so that it is so that it looks a little bit different. So let's see if we can do something with that. So let's say let's see. If I target one of these, that's not a very helpful selector. Let's see if we can build something into our actual form. So we want the button. Let's see. How do we want to do this? I want to make sure that there's a button with 1 on screen. I really want to make sure that we have buttons 1 through 5 initially for this one test. And I really want to see, does the button that contains 1, is that one selected? So I think we can just do that using like some ng class stuff. I may have to look this up because it's been a while since I did this, but let's work through it. Pagination. So we'll put on a class to this. Say this is a Pagination option. And let me just Google some stuff real quick because I don't want to be doing the wrong thing on stream. Let's just Google for Angular ng class directive. Let's see if we can find some good examples somewhere. That's all we really need. Let's see. See if there's. I think I've seen this article before. I actually like Asm stuff quite a bit. That's where I actually started learning. So I think I want to just do like style or class ng. Okay, just do like class dot style dot color. So I want to do something like this, but I want to say like class dot selected. I only want to put that on. How do I do that? Does anyone in chat know how to do that off the top of their head? I know it's a thing. ng class, is this where it's going to? ng class equals. I do something like this, but I really just want to do the 1. I think there's a shorthand way for just doing the 1, right? Class. We can also set a class on an element by binding it to the input property called class. Removes, that's not what we want because we want to make sure everything above it has that. I think maybe we could do it like this. Class. Yeah, let's try like this. So we'll go over here and we'll say class. We just want this to be called selected. And we're going to make this, can we format this? There we go. So we're going to look at our current page control and value, and we're going to say if this is equal to option. We'll have to move that just down below the ng4. I think that should work. Let's hit that, and let's go over and inspect inside of Cypress. Let's just rerun. Test should still pass because we're not testing for anything different. But if I inspect on here and just look at the elements, let's target that one. Yeah, we can see selected. Let me make that a little bit bigger. Sorry, y'all. So if I target the 1 button, well, somehow we're in the shadow DOM inside of React, inside of Cypress. But here we go. This is what I wanted to show. So we can see all of our classes have our pagination option on them, but only the one has selected on it. Let's do something wonky with the CSS just to make that obvious. So we'll say dot selected. We'll just say what is it, background color. I'm no designer. We're just going to make it like blue. Wait, what is that? Blue. There you go. And we'll rerun, and I'll close some of this out so we can see it. There you can see our selected is painfully obvious. So there we go. We're making progress. Got that adjusted. we want to be doing some stuff. So as I click some of these, really what we want to happen is we want for the value to update. And so we're just going to call pretty much set control on each one of these buttons. And so we'll add that onto like the on click for each one of these buttons. And let's just move with that. I'm wanting to get the Cypress tests up so we can kind of lead with our tests. Let's try to do that. We'll say app spec.ts forms testbed e2e. So there we go. We're confirming our value is starting out right. We're going to do sci.get. So we'll say dot button or Paginator option dot selected. We'll say that should contain 1. And we'll say that's all I want to do for now, but then we'll say sci.get let's see. I want to just click one of these. I think I could just do like sci.contains 4, like just go all the way down there. The sci.contains 4.click. I think that'll click the 4. Let's see if we can do that. Sci.contains a 4, and we'll call click. I believe what Cypress will do now, it'll target that 4 and click it. Not grabbing that one. Let's see. Did I do this wrong? Hit that one. Oh, let's just call it selected. I think. Does this need to be like that? I don't know. Let's see. No. I don't know what I'm doing. But just selected should work. .get selected. Alright. So it contains 4 and we clicked it. So what we should see now, let's add it in. So we need to say copy this, selected contains 4, and we're going to say the value should also be 4. And this should fail now, but we'll go and make that green next. So yeah, you can see we clicked 4. You can see it's still, like the tab index is still on it. But it's not blue, so it's not selected. The value outside is not updated either. So we're going to want to go into that and get our green check, and we'll move on. So let's go into, bring up the Pagination component over here on the one side, TypeScript on the other. We'll just add inside of this button a click event. We'll say select page, and we'll pass in the option. It's giving me reds because that's not on our component yet, but we'll fix that. I'll put it up here because everything below this is kind of needed by the various interfaces we're implementing. So we'll call select page. And here's our page, which is going to be a number. And we're just going to say this current page control dot set value page. I think that's all we'll need. Let's see if Cypress passes. We'll refresh to run all steps, and we can see, yeah, went through really quick. Like, I don't know if you can even see that go. But yeah, there it goes. So Cypress was on 1, and then I clicked 4, and we can see as we do that, well, we can even mess around here. As we click around, things are updating. Looks pretty solid. We're not doing anything complicated yet. So once we get past 5 buttons, we wanted to do some things where we're like adding ellipses and stuff like that. So and we probably also want to do some stuff where we can have like a dynamic total pages, so we can make sure that's updating as well. So let's see, what should we want to tackle first? Let's try writing a test that just does this, but we'll have, rather than 5 pages, let's have 10. Let's have 10. So let's do that. So we'll take our spec file. Just go over here and go jump into our spec file. This is, so we'll say when clicking a page button, value should update. We'll come down here. We'll just kind of copy all this stuff and paste it in. Copy and paste. And we'll say when more than 10, or more than 5 page options, or more than 5 total pages, should start to see ellipses. So we'll get into what that's going to look like. Before I want to do this, I'll kind of jump back into this up here. So we're going to have, this is sort of the test bed again. I'm going to put another HR in here. So the bottom here, we can think of this as like values to check. I'm going to put a area in here where this is like places where we'll update our it's kind of like just giving Cypress a way of like updating a form by itself, so we could change stuff up here. Like for example, in this one, we're going to want to change the total pages. So we'll say, well, let's go over here into our app component. We're going to want, so this is our page control. We're also going to want a total pages control. So this is a new form control, and we'll say this is 5. We're going to adjust our total pages now to be equal to this dot total pages control dot value changes. And we'll pipe onto that a start with this dot total pages control dot value. And inside of here now, we'll add a little input. So let's put a label for equals total pages, total pages, and then an input type is number, ID is total pages, and we're going to add the form control directive onto here to tie it to that total pages control. I think that's all we'll need. So if we come back over here, things are passing. We can see we have our total pages right here, and I believe as we adjust those, we've already got the component all set up, and we can already see the problem here. Well, going below 0 is kind of interesting. We'll just not worry about that for now. But when we go above 5, we can see this is not behaving as we want it to. I think what we want to do in this situation, so we're on number 1, and we have 11 total. I think the way I like to have this done usually is we always have the 5, and then we would additionally, if there's total pages, we would put like over here would be a button that says ... 11. That's what I'm going to want to implement. Clearly this isn't working right now, so we'll fix it. But first, let's make sure we're getting our reds inside of the end-to-end test. So when more than 5 pages, we're going to kind of come in and assert the same stuff. Let's go like that. We're going to want to start out asserting the same stuff, but then rather than clicking on 4, let's do sci.get. I think I just called that total pages. And use like the hashtag there because I did an ID dot, and then I think just like type. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. Do I type a string? I think I must have to type a string, but hopefully it'll interpret it as a number. And then we should see sci.get. We'll just put our ellipses like that. So I think this should catch it if it were to work. It should fail now though. So let's see. Okay. It typed in 10. It did what we told it to. It typed in 10. It's not getting the 10. And that's all right. This is failing. We want it to fail. I do want to clean up the test though. I think we have to call like clear first and then type. Is that a thing? Clear.type? Let's try that. Clear and type. Yep, there you go. So failing, it should be failing. When we get this implemented correctly, it should pass. Let's try to get that to work. This is probably going to be a little bit tricky. I'm not sure off the top of my head how to do this, but let's go into it. So we're going to go into our pagination component, bring that up. So we'll always have these ones, and we'll say we'll add in an additional button here. Actually, I'm going to use ngrx let for something here because I think I'm going to want it. So on this div, I'll call ngrx let is equal to pagination options as pagination options. I can get rid of this push pipe then, the finish notation, because, so the reason I'm doing this is because I want to subscribe just in this one place up top here. But then down below, I'm going to want for this button to have like an ng if on it. So I'm only going to want to show this if pagination options dot includes, and we're going to say it should include our total pages. Yeah, includes total pages. So we're only going to want to show this last one if it doesn't. Right? I think that's right. And then we'll have our ellipses, and then we'll have our total pages here. And I think that's right, but we'll let Cypress tell us. So we'll rerun our tests. And there. It's doing what I want it to do, but it's definitely not passing. So let's see, what did I do? I said sci.get. Let's go to our spec. Sci.selected. I really want. I guess let's just use this. I want to do a better selector for this last one here. We'll just copy this for now. We'll try to make this better. So we'll say paste. And we'll just assert that it contains ... 10 to do better selector. Let's try that. I think that will pass. Yeah, I think so. Let's see. Yep. Check that one. Checked it. Did it. So now we'll take the same one here. And we'll say click. And then we should be able to assert similar things as we did here before. So at this point, so we want it just to contain 10, and we want the selected to just contain 10. So let's check that, and we're just kind of piecemealing through this step by step. Let's see, when we clicked, click can only be called on a single element. That's multiple true. I don't want to do that. Why would it say that? Subject to contain 2 elements. What 2 elements is it containing, I wonder? Inspect. So if I go to this element, plus, this is not what I want. Let's see. That. Nope, nope, nope. This is in the shadow stuff. No. It's just that. Okay, this is inside of our actual thing now. And at the top, previous and next, here's all of our buttons. Cypress L is true. Well, let's see if we can just, I don't know. Let's see. So this click is not working. Fifth child to the 6th child. Let's see if we could just make this. If we're looking at our pagination component template over here and spec over here, let's see if we can target that one better. So it's saying it's going to be the 6th child, but it's not always going to be the 6th child, I don't think. Let's just call this something. So this will be, let's throw on for now, E2E tag equals last button. So we'll just do it that way. E2E tag last button, and close it up like that. There you go. Let's try this way. Nope, I copied that when I meant to paste. Copy and paste and click. Alright, so we got this, we clicked on it, clicking worked. Let me get rid of, no, get out of here. Get rid of that. Clicking on it worked. We don't have the click handler yet for this one, so we'll just add that on real quick. We'll say click, and we can just use the same select page as before. Select page with total pages. Let's try that. If we rerun that, I think we'll pass this now. Rerun. Yep, there we go. But now we can see, when we're here, we should see our 1 with some ellipses. So let's just go back and do this. So we're going to go to our pagination component. Let's fail the test first. And let's separate this out a little bit. So just say init up here. Down here, we're going to click last. We should click first down here. This actually probably goes in the init part. There we go. And yeah, so we'll do similar stuff here. So we'll say, let's just copy like this. Copy and paste. So this should be, hey Brandon, how's it going, man? We'll call this one first button. Yep. First button contains the 1. When we click it, we should see our value is 1, and we should see if we get our selected button, that should contain 1 as well. Good, man. So, Brandon, we're just working through some end-to-end tests just with our form over here. Our first test worked. That's where we just started with 1 through 5, so just 5 total pages. But in our next test, we're increasing the total pages to 10. We got it so we can click on 10 and that'll work, but now we should see a 1. So that's just what we're building into our stuff right now. And I think that test is all set. If we rerun it, we should see it fail right there on the 1, right where we expect it to. Yeah, so we're not seeing a first button yet. So let's go and make one. It's going to copy this button because it's going to be a very similar idea. Call this first button, and we'll say if pagination options dot includes 1. So if it doesn't include 1, we're going to want to include it. I think we'll get to like a weird edge case here in a bit, but we'll write some stuff for that. I think if it's like we're only going to want to include the ellipses. Like we're only going to want to include the button at all if it doesn't include 1. But we're going to want to do the ellipses if the pagination options doesn't include 2. And same for down here. But we'll get into that later. I think this is enough to pass our test. Let's check. No, that's wrong. First button includes 10, not total pages. I guess this will always be 1, so we'll just do .1 there. Let's try that. First button contains 1. Not like that. I'll only do it like that. Okay. Okay. Binding to functions. Which way are you talking about? The click right here? Or are you talking about someplace else? Let me know, Brandon. So we should have contains 1. That's still not going right. If it does not include 1, it should be like so. Why is it still showing up as 10? Did I hit the refresh? Pretty sure I hit the refresh. My computer just slowed all the way down there. Oh, inside the NGF. Let me take a look. Yep, there we go. Okay. Contains 1. Do we click it? Doesn't seem right. Our test should be failing here. Oh, it's going to contain 1, but it's going to contain that and a lame. In value does contain 1 there. It technically does contain 1. Okay. So Brandon's pointing out the ngIf is going to be on here. So we can do this better, I think. So Brandon is pointing out that we're binding to functions. This is bad because it means we're going to have to reevaluate this every change detection cycle. But I think we can do a better way. So it's not that the array is going to include a 1. It's going to be, we only want to show this if the pagination options 0 is not equal to 1. There we go. And then over here, we can say if pagination options, pagination options dot length -1 dot, well, is not equal to total page. I think that's actually much better, right? I don't know, Brandon. I want to change it. I want to react to that. I think that was a thing to call out. Ignore the squirrel. Squirrel! I think that, let's see. We've got our end-to-end test. Let's see if that works. Let me just rerun it. It'll probably give us a false positive here. I got to figure out how to do, I need Cypress to say, I don't want it to be that it just contains something. I want it to be that its exact text contents is equal to something. Let me just Google for that real quick. Let's see if we can find it. Cypress assert exact text content. Assertions. I don't think this is going to give me what I want. Text content. Oh, wait, to have text. So I could do expect and then sci.get that thing, and then to have text, and then that thing. Let's see if that'll actually give us a failure. I feel like that'll just give us a pass still, because it'll still technically have that. So let's see. See if I can get this. So I want to say expect sci.get this thing. And then it was what, .to .have .text 1. Let's just see if that one, we should get a fail now. Expected, that's not right. It's either DOM object or jQuery object. Was text object. All right. Let me go back to Google in for this. Let's go back, see if we can find an example. Assert only one element with a text exists. That would be interesting too, but. Assert element has. Let me get rid of assert. I feel like that might be giving us some bad. No, that's not what I wanted. Get out of here. Contains. Can we get rid of what we want with contains? Can we do? Oh, can we do like exact? I don't know. Is that like an option on contains? Options, match case. No, we can't do it on like an exact. The first element containing a number contains 4. Regular expressions contains. Oh, that's interesting. I guess we could do like this. I hate to do it. We could make sure that it contains one. So let's undo what we did here. Contains one. And we could put here should not contain 10. Kind of a silly way to do it. I'm sure there's got to be a better way. So selected should contain one. Selected should And here not dot contain 10. Okay, okay, we're cooking now. We're cooking. Onside the click, I've got this bug here, obviously, that Cypress let me know about. If we're clicking on the first page, we always want to go to 1. Let's hit that. And we'll go over here. Let's rerun it. I think this should pass now. There we go. So if we step through, Cypress has the nice little snapshots, the DOM snapshots. We clicked on 10. We saw number 1 button with the contents we wanted. We clicked on it, and then we made sure the values were new. So we can see we're starting out with 1. We went to 10. We came back. So things are looking like we expect them to. And we can still mess around with it a little bit. Next thing we'll probably want to do is click somewhere in the middle. So we'll want to click on 5. So 5 actually looks right now. If we click on 7, this actually doesn't. And this is that edge case I was talking about. In this case, I think I would still want to see like all 5 of these, all 5 middle ones, but then have a 10 here. But the ellipsis there makes no sense. So let's see if we can add that in real quick. Let's kill this off. So this will, well, not kill it off, but we'll say this is one test. We'll create a new test over here. Here, instead of clicking on the .10, we'll click on the 5. Sci contains 5. And we'll say contains 5 dot click. And let's adjust our test name. We're more than 5 total pages. When clicking in, or when option selected in the middle, should see ellipses when appropriate. All right. So we'll go over here, we'll come in here, we'll hit on 5, and we'll click it. Then we'll make sure our value contains 5, we'll make sure our selected has the 5, and we'll say click in middle. And we should see if we get our first, so we'll do like this. Get first, we'll get, so that should contain the 1, get the last button. This should contain our ellipses on the 10. And there we go. And we'll say here, click on 7. 7's kind of the weird edge case. And we'll go through, we'll say contains 7. Just assert these things because it's pretty cheap. Just make those assertions. So 1 should contain 1 dot dot dot. 10 here, those should just contain 10. Let's get rid of that. And let's see. This is going to give us, so contain 10, and this will say should not dot contain dot 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 10. There we go. And when we rerun that, we'll see we're in our failure state here. And before we go any further, let's just go over here and copy this out. because we also want to make sure this is the same with the 3. Let me do that while we're thinking about it. Click on the 3. So we're actually going to want to click the 5 first and then click the 3, because the 3 won't be visible yet, I believe. Then after that, we'll make sure this has a 3. We'll make sure this has a 3. Make sure this has a 1. And it should not contain the 1 with the ellipses. And here we can get rid of this line. Alright, try that again. Should fail on the same step. So let's just add some stuff around our ellipses here. It would be almost kind of silly. But we'll do it here. So we'll say, just add some binding, I guess. So we'll say, how's this going to look? It's really, if we're going to look at that first pagination options element again, and we'll say if this is equal to 2, then we will just do an empty string, otherwise we'll do our ellipsis. And too many quotations there. Too many single quotes. I think that would do it. And we're going to want to do a very similar thing over here with the ellipsis on the other side. Let's copy that. We'll do it on our ellipsis over here. So in this case, we're going to say pagination options, and we're going to want to get the last one, which will be pagination options dot length -1, and if that is equal to total pages -1, yes, again, it'll be a pretty long line here, a lot more complicated than the other one. This is our little ternary. I think that's right. So if our pagination options is equal to, if the last one of our pagination options is equal to our total pages -1, we don't want to show an ellipsis. So this is in the case where that last button's in 9, the last one in our options array. Otherwise we'll show that. I think that's right. Let's try it. Just hit rerun. Let's see, can we get all the way through? Looks like we're going to fail something. Expected to find element first button, but never did. Oh, okay. I think I want to click 4 to get that case. So 3, in the case of 3, I'm never actually going to see first button. Should still see the 1. I would definitely want to write these tests better. I'm just I'm lacking a bit on the skills on how to do that. I'll try to look that up here. Because pretty much I want to assert that if I want to have some sort of assertion that like looks at all the buttons here, and just kind of combines the text contexts into an array, and then I want to assert that the array is exactly what I want it to be. That's really the test I want to write. A lot of this stuff is just hacky stuff around that. So we'll look to clean it up. But let's switch this to click on the 4. If we're on 7, I don't think we'll see the 4. So we'll click on 5 and then we'll click on 4, and then we should see it like this. There we go. I think we're where we want to be. We can keep going with this for our previous and next. We probably want to do something where like we'd disable next in this situation, disable previous in this situation. That's not too hard to do, but we're already over time, so I'm just going to leave it at that for now. I think this was kind of interesting to run through. Kind of nice to see the test bed kind of running in action, and Cypress just running all of our tests for us. Now let me add a note to the top here. just a to-do. Write better tests. And we'll just say should get array of pagination option contents, and assert it is exactly what we want it to be. There we go. So yeah, we'll call it there. Still feels good to have some tests going through this. Things working like we expected it to. Feels pretty solid. And we'll, so actually, let me throw this up real quick. Got some exciting news for our next stream. Ooh, my green screen's all going to be weird here, but there you go. For next stream, we're actually going to have Nicole on the stream. She's another engineer at Narwhal. We're going to talk about styling applications, maybe specifically styling Angular applications. This hole in my head is really weirding me out, but that's okay. But I'm really looking forward to it. Looking forward to having her on. I think we'll do something different where we probably won't work through any problems. Probably just going to sit down and talk for a little bit about how we could do stuff, and I'll probably reference the project a little bit. But I don't think we'll be writing any code. But I'm still looking forward to it tomorrow. Hope y'all